Well, hello and welcome to the Project Joyful podcast. You are in for a treat because I am talking to the corporate stylist, Nina Fountain. And I have to tell you that I recently had the pleasure of a mini style session with Nina. And not only did we have so much fun, but I came away with, well, first of all, some great pieces. But I also learned a lot about what suited me best in this time of life, especially when I'm in that corporate setting and I'm balancing being me with being lovely and corporate-y. So let me tell you a little bit more about Nina. So since 2017, she's helped hundreds of CEOs, executives, coaches, and consultants be seen in their most powerful light, from the boardroom to brunch. Now, what I love most is that part of Nina's secret sauce is her insider's perspective on the life of a high-profile corporate woman. Nina also has her own corporate role as a management consultant, working with the executive teams of medium to large corporates. Welcome, Nina. Welcome to
Thank
Project
you.
Joyful.
I'm
Uh,
just thrilled to be here. It's great. I'm excited. So I'm busting right in. I'm so excited to be having this chat. It's great.
oh, so good. And we've already been having a chat, so we're like already on fire, guys. So ready. So you know that I love that you have that insider's perspective because in my program Revitalize, where we work with executives, managers, and professionals, one of the most common challenges is being seen as that effective persuader and being seen as a person of influence. And as leaders, we all have those days where we're presenting information or we're participating in an important meeting, and how we feel within ourselves leaks into those meetings. So I'm really keen on getting your perspective, Nina, on what we can do to feel our best within ourselves when we're in those moments.
Oh, there is a huge opportunity in communicating visually through how we dress. We often think that influence and persuasion is around language and the choice of words, around our body language. We're aware of following the norms and the cultural expectations in the space or in the organization that we're working within. Little politenesses that show that we know how things work around here. And at the same time, there's a huge opportunity to build rapport, to communicate competence, and to show your intention to deliver and to bring your absolute utmost through turning up in a way that says, I get how we work around here. I get what this organization is about. And I am here to bring value. I'm here to be that top tier transformational woman, person, human, who is ready to deliver on what this situation needs and to do above and beyond so that people speak positively about the experience and you deliver that service and that wholehearted commitment to a greater good that many of our clients, our women, are bringing. They're actually people who want to do above and beyond, who want to make a positive impact, who aren't there just pushing chairs around and taking a paycheck. They're making an impact. They're quite intentional about the reason that they're there. And there's a huge opportunity to just communicate instantly these aspects of trust around rapport, intention, and competence through how we turn up. And it reminds me of an experience I had where I was the lead presenter on a tender bid for a very large corporate. And I walked in wearing a Trellis Cooper skirt, quite flouncy, kind of, larger than the usual A-line silhouette, a really classic kind of feminine looking skirt, but it was in very toned down colors. It was in corporate black, navy, and a plaid kind of look. So it was one of Trellis's more conservative pieces, even though it definitely had that flounce and femininity that she's known for, Trellis Cooper. And I felt fantastic in that moment. I paired it with a plain white top and a black jacket, and I had like kind of court shoes style heels on. So when I walked in, I was completely occasion appropriate. I was appropriate to the culture, but I was also there saying, I'm leading this conversation and I'm not a shrinking violet. This is not a wallflower that you're about to talk to. I'm here with a mission. I've got something to do, something to say, And so I dressed appropriately. I dressed with a bit of character, but it was also completely occasion appropriate. And honestly, we could just talk about this for hours because it is so much about how what you're wearing is communicating to others, but it's also what it's communicating back to you in that it's saying to you, I'm worth it. I'm wearing a high-end piece. I'm wearing that because I know my worth as much as anything else. And to just give yourself that boost is it's priceless. It's a fabulous feeling to have that competence of delivering, to lead a powerful conversation and to feel the integrity of this is who I am. I'm fully behind this. This is not me pretending to be someone. This is who I really feel I am. So there's so much power in clothes. And you think about how people wear clothes on stage, how we respond to uniforms that we see around us. We instantly know that person's role. We're doing something similar with clothes. We're telling ourselves our own role, and we're telling other people our role and how they can understand us and what to expect next.
I'm curious, when you choose your outfit for that day, so you've got that big presentation, you're leading the room essentially, but you're also signaling, what, I know I'm worth it, and I am wearing clothes that are a reflection of my perception of my self-worth, and you guys are all lucky to have me in the room, quite frankly, is what
Yeah,
you're emanating, right?
absolutely.
Love it. So, what's the process you go through, or is it more of an intuitive thing where you're choosing what you want to wear that day? Like, do you choose based on how you're feeling that day, or do you plan ahead? How do you do it?
So people are quite different in this, in that they'll have different ways of approaching it. And I think it aligns probably with your style synergy type. So that's the connection between your personality and the way you style yourself and what you carry best, what you feel best in. The style synergy types are based around the four main ways that we differ in our personalities, essentially. So, decades of research around that. And some people are very conscientious, and so they will have their outfits organized, they'll have them ready to go. They like to be planned, they're quite goal directed, so they like to have that, that there. Other people are very much more go with the flow, and that's part of their genius, is that they're extremely ready to be flexible and adapt to circumstances. And so for them, it's probably more about having a collection of clothes that are available to them that they know are going to work well for them. And having had a few outfits pre-selected helps to make that easy, but they may not be as conscientious as kind of like, oh, I want to have them all outlined.
Yeah,
I want to know what all of them are for the whole season, for all of my work days.
yeah.
I remember meeting someone once who said it was actually a guy who said that he had 10 outfits and he wore one each day. Now that's far too organized for me, because Monday in 2 weeks he'd be wearing the same thing he was wearing Monday 2 weeks ago. That organized. And then open-mindedness is another trait. And that will come across as actually being free and flexible and quite adaptable. So that's my main trait. And I actually do find sometimes I change outfits throughout the day because I've got different things I've got to do. Some of us need to do that as just because our roles require it. So, handy tip there is that shoes set the tone. So it's really a great idea if you're needing to do that day to night shift to have a bag that can carry a night pair of shoes. So just a little side tip there if you are needing to change your outfits a lot throughout the day. And then the other main trait is the extrovert. So this kind of very dynamic, makes things happen, moves things forward type of personality. And so for them, they may not care so much about having things ordered and structured, or whether they're easy, or having that variety and that flexibility to change a lot, but they might really want clothes that have impact. And then, you can see the importance of having the right pieces in your wardrobe to be able to pull together outfits like that. Most of my clients actually lean on my interest in getting them organized. And I have a lookbook that we create, because there's nothing easier than just being able to look at a picture and see, oh, here's my outfits that are corporate worthy or leading a meeting worthy. here's my weekend outfits. And just to be able to go through, think, what's the weather today? What's on my calendar, and which of these outfits would look best. And that's what I do. I have a lookbook on my phone. I love that it takes me a minute to choose based on those factors. And I just see what's clean and ready to go, and I choose from that. So, other people might be much more heartfelt, like, I really feel like wearing that. Do you know what? Sometimes when I'm leading a meeting or I've got an important event, I literally wake up thinking that's the thing to wear today. So
Oh, I
it's like
love that.
subconscious has just worked on it and think, yeah, that's what will feel great to wear.
Yeah, your body's like, I need that over there and I need that color over there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like just that combination, wear that outfit exactly. And because I have mine preset, I know, it's that particular look that I'm going for. And I really recommend that whoever you are, just to have them to have done the work ahead of time to have a preset list, essentially, your jukebox of outfits, your rotation ready to go. And they're just pictures on your phone of your outfits. It's so easy.
I really love that. So what I'm hearing is that it's really helpful to get like those key looks that you're going to be wearing that season, and then you've got options for interchanging them so that you've got the key looks, they look great, you always feel great in them, and then you've got that creativity where you're like, well, I want to take that over there and I want to pair it with that, and I know that works because I've already rehearsed it before.
Yeah, look, yeah, that's right. Getting things to mix and match, that's a whole other
That's an
area
art.
of styling. There's a number of things to think about there, but one of the really important things to do is to choose from a color palette, a consistent color palette. Then you also want to be choosing from a consistent style or taste, if you like, what I call your style essence. And if all of your pieces have the potential to work into an outfit that flatters your body shape, that's the other piece. But generally, the place to start, I guess, is with having a consistent color palette in terms of mixing and matching. There's some things to know to understand whether you're flattering your body shape, whether you're aligning with your style essence. And of course, if you want to have your perfect colors, what your perfect color palette is. But at the basic level, if you just have a consistent color palette, that does help hugely for mixing and matching.
Yeah, it gets you a long way there. It's really
Mm.
interesting what you were saying about having pieces that suit your body shape. Because I know we were talking about this just before, where, for example, I'm happily marching through my 50s. And so, being a menopausal woman, my body shape is very different to what it was when I was in my 30s, even my 40s. And it can be quite hard to find the pieces that actually work with, your body might be the same weight, but the proportions are all different.
Yeah.
So, what's your advice in relation to that?
Yeah, it's absolutely key. The body shape piece is critical, and it's almost like the center of styling. So understanding your body shape and knowing that the pieces you have flatter you is really worth whatever it takes to work that out. And then, yeah, in terms of body change, I just say love the body you're with. It's like love the one you're with. Like, this is the body that gets you to work each day, that gets you exercising, that you turn up in to see friends and family. This is the one unique body on the planet that you have that no one else has either. So it's just so validating to love the one you're with, love the body you're in, and give it that capacity to be flattered, to turn up and to think, I do look and feel fantastic in this. Each person's shape will be one of five. I use a five shapes system, and occasionally I adjust that slightly for the person depending on their unique proportions. The five shapes are somewhat familiar, but not hugely widely talked about. The fashion industry only uses four, which I believe is a mistake because the two that it combines into one need to dress completely opposite to each other.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I'm kind of not sure that it works beautifully well. And then, yeah, you'll come across other systems that have got 6, 8, 10, but my system has 5 because of the concept of Western beauty that we have, which is around the hourglass. So when you work with the hourglass concept, the figure finesse body shape strategies that I have really come out of that principle of looking at the hourglass. So then you end up with 5 shapes, and they are, of course, the hourglass, the bigger at the bottom shape, which you may have heard called the pear or the triangle, the bigger at the top shape, which you may have heard called the inverted triangle or the carrot. I don't like these fruit and vegetable terms. We're a bit more interesting than that. The diamond shape, which is otherwise called the apple, or bigger in the middle. And then there's straight shape, which is sometimes called the H shape or the athletic shape. So yeah, those are the 5. And the proportions that matter are your bust, waist, and bottom to be able to understand your shape. And people can find a PDF on my website to really get clear on their shape. And that's really the first step to then understanding, well, how do I dress that? I give people a body shape strategy that gives them one clear concept and several key questions that they can think about for each outfit to understand whether that outfit is doing the right thing for them.
Oh, that's so, so powerful. And like when you have those days where you're just not feeling it, you wake up, maybe you haven't slept that well
Yeah.
that night, or you've got a little bit of stress going on, or you're doing the juggling of home and work. What
Yeah.
advice do you have for helping us to show up feeling the best version of ourselves when we have those off days?
Oh, yeah. Love that. Love that question. Because this is where, and I think people will fall into one of two categories where either they'll want to go with this, go with that feeling and just
Yeah.
think, okay, I am having a blue day and I accept that about myself and my life. And I'm going to just rock up and turn in, wear my pajamas and have a hot chocolate and feel better about myself that way.
Yeah.
And then there's others who will say, well, wait, I want to intercept this. I want to, break that loop. And this is a day where I want to be feeling fantastic. You think of things like the Amy Cuddy TED Talk on how our body posture changes our mood. And there's fascinating research around how sitting increases your cortisol, which is your stress hormone. But raising your hands, for example, in that kind of power pose of like punching in the air, it actually increases your dopamine, increases that feel good, I've achieved something kind of feeling like I'm ready to conquer the world.
Yeah.
Obviously, that research is related to how we use our bodies, but I think there's a similar thing going on when we choose to wear clothes that speak back to us, because clothes do speak back to us, and it's not
Mm.
just when we catch a glimpse of ourselves in the mirror. It's also the feel of the garment and the history that we have with it. Each piece has a story, and it reminds you
Mm.
in some subtle way of what that piece signifies and the history that it has with you. So I think there's a huge opportunity on those days to step into something that has an I'm fantastic story associated with it and feels great on your skin to wear and looks great on you, and you can step out in feeling fantastic. And there really is no reason why each of us don't have access to that.
Mm.
It's knowledge. Knowledge is power for sure. Obviously, with the time investment and in making it happen,
Mm.
but it's available to each of us to look and to feel fantastic. And yeah, I think clothes can be a really powerful tool for success in that way, in that they can be that pattern interrupt and they can remind us of the best version of ourselves.
I really love that because in Revitalize, we talk about guiding life feelings and how you can use guiding life feelings to curate a life, which is the life that you want, whether you want more peace or more joy. And so a lot of what we do is about rehearsing, holding those feelings in your body so that at any time when you're having a rough day, I just want to bring more peace into this moment. I remember what peace feels like in my body. So I go to that place and I feel more peaceful. I love that you're saying that we can also do that with our clothes and that you look at something in your wardrobe and go, oh, I remember when I wore that and I just felt so loved and so appreciated. And that's how I want to feel today. And so I'm evoking that memory by putting that garment on. That is so cool.
Yeah, it's really powerful. And at the same time, there's this great opportunity to go through your wardrobe and to think about the things that have negative associations with them. That might only be 5 to 10% of the wardrobe, but those things are little niggles that drain our energy, and we don't need that. If
Yeah,
energy is one of our most precious resources. And the busier you get, the further you get on your career, the more you realize that's probably even more precious than time. So we don't
absolutely.
need anything that's getting in the way of us being the most successful, fabulous versions of ourselves that we know we can be.
True. I love that. Yeah, weeding out the wardrobe. When you're looking at that top and you're like, do you know what? Can't remember the last time I felt great feeling that.
Yeah,
Get it out.
get it out. It's a whole Marie Kondo thing. And does it spark joy? It's almost, you can flip the question and think, is there a negative association with that? Is that causing me stress? It might be something you've got because your mother-in-law bought it for you and you don't want to have
Offend.
have to answer the question, do you still have that?
Yeah.
You can still have that, just put it under the bed. Put it in a storage container and you still have it. Or I've never felt great wearing it, I think is a really powerful clue that it doesn't have a future where it's going to serve you to be the best version of yourself. It's thinking through each of those three things. Is it in my perfect colors? Does it flatter my body shape? And does it feel like my style essence? Is it bringing who I am to life? And if it's none of those three things, then it definitely doesn't have a place. And in fact, I use those three as the very high standard for stepping into those transformational looks that feel powerful.
Yeah, I
So
love
if it
that.
definitely doesn't have one, then I wouldn't keep it at all.
Yeah,
You don't need it.
yeah, so good. And I love that you're talking about, being comfortable, being in your own authentic style of clothing. Like when you talked about wearing that gorgeous feminine skirt, there is a little bit of a challenge in relation to women not feeling that they can wear those beautiful feminine clothes to work because they feel like they need to be more corporate, more structured, more formal. And so there
Mm.
isn't a space for that beautiful feminine flair coming through. What advice do you have people who want more femininity into their clothing?
Yeah, love that. So I think there's probably two things going on in that situation. Our real opportunity here is to actually be doing two things, to be both corporate appropriate or organization appropriate. So
Mm,
we say through what we're wearing, I get how this organization works. I understand what you value. I know what's important here and how we work around here. And then also to be demonstrating who you are is really key to then having a positive relationship going forward, where what they see is what they get.
mm,
They got a certain impression from you, and then you followed up as being that person. This is so much more powerful than thinking I've got to fall into a certain set of rules about what corporate looks like.
yeah,
If you look up online corporate looks, you just see a whole lot of blue and black suits, pencil skirt suits with white shirts.
yeah,
This is a very, very narrow concept, and the world has moved on a lot from there. Corporate these days means a lot more than that. It's
yeah.
it's where it's where we're looking to quickly understand who a person is, especially in high stakes relationships where you're leading teams or you're delivering, you're facilitating a workshop. These are high stakes moments when it really counts to be able
Mm,
to be quickly understood and have that trust, have that rapport, and follow through as that person. So all of that comes back to then actually connecting with what it is that is integral to your style. And what I my take is that it's your personality traits that are key, and people can quickly and easily find out what that means for their style by doing the style synergy types quiz, which I'll give you a link for. But it's an investment of 5 minutes that then gives you three key dimensions where out of the 12 types, the combination of the four main traits that that person has, they find three key dimensions that then you can use to shape your style in every aspect of style that you can think about, how you choose colors, how you put silhouettes together, which shoes you choose, what's important to your seasonal wardrobes, any style question you can think of. The three key dimensions will help to bring that to life. And that's really the essence, if you like, the basis rather of that, having that trustworthy, rapport building, competence communicating impression and turning up to deliver that. What I see people tend to think is they tend to think, oh, I liked that. I liked that on her. So they might have, for example, I have no idea if this happened, but say someone saw me wearing that Chili's Cooper skirt and they think, gosh, that's an amazing look. And they'll think it's something about the look, and they'll scurry away and try and find a skirt like that. And you see this with people following Instagram stylists and YouTube stylists, and then they'll go and find that look, bring it home and discover actually it doesn't suit any of the three style essentials that are the standard that I mentioned for transformational, powerful looks. So they'll find, oh, that skirt actually, it's really not my style essence. I liked something about it, or doesn't suit my body shape, or it's not good for my colors. And in fact, yeah, if you connect more with your style essence and those two other style essentials for shaping your style, that's when you get your unique version of powerful. The thing you generally liked on that person was that it looked fantastic on her because it suits her style essentials. So to get things looking fantastic on you and feeling powerful, and for you to convey them, it's like just going through that same process yourself and knowing where you land and having some pointers, having some clarity around that really helps.
Love that phrase, your unique version of powerful, because we're born worthy, we're born powerful. Like, no mama ever looked at her baby and went, I don't know if this one's worth it. I don't know if this
Yeah.
one's going to power. They're like, oh my God, I love you. And the baby's like, yes, you do. And
Yes,
it's
you do,
like,
and
I
you
love,
will. That's right.
yeah,
And I'm worth it.
so worth it. You are blessed to have me on this planet.
Yes,
So where
absolutely.
did we lose that along the way? I love that our clothes can be a reflection of that, knowing that inner worth, and that the style choices that we make can in turn not only feed that sense of us knowing our inner worth, but also convey to the world, hey, I'm worth it. You're lucky to have me in the room.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And isn't that exciting? Doesn't that feel like this is stepping into what we're made for? This is stepping into the way we can see things change in the world and make an impact and have that positive impact that we know is possible. It's just so exciting to discard, a lot of the rules and thinking I should be this, I should be that, I should look like this person, and the doubts that creep in, and instead stepping into a bolder version. But by bold, I don't necessarily mean everyone wearing power suits and pink, orange, and red.
Neon power suits. Oh,
Right?
bring back the 80s.
I know. I love seeing little 80s flickers come back into trends. But it's not necessarily about those classic concepts of power. For some people, powerful will actually be stepping into that ease and that grace and that agreeableness, which is key to their personality, so that they can show people that and they're not mistaken as being an extrovert when they're actually more introverted and really good at sensing and judging a room and being that one that is a team player. That's a very different type of person. The one who turns up and leads from the front and pushes things forward and is like a dog to a bone with project outcomes, etc. So really connecting with those traits and communicating them clearly is just it's just nice.
It
It's
just
just
works,
a
eh?
great thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an absolute treat talking with you, Nina, and I know that everyone listening is gonna want to know more. So tell everybody how they can get in touch with you and a little bit about the sort of things that you do and how they can work with you.
Oh, thank you. I just love having the conversation, and I think clothes can serve us so well once we have, a little bit of knowledge is power. I always wish for people that it wouldn't take them as long as it took me. I took about 15 years, I would say, to really land a style that is now my most powerful style. And it doesn't have to take that long. It really can be, we can shortcut that by many years, make it just a couple of months. So people can find me at stylegorgeous.com, and that's where they can find the quiz that I mentioned. I serve people globally from Wellington, New Zealand, and my clients tend to be in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and the US because of our time zones and how we connect. And we either do a bespoke approach where I essentially do the styling. I'm a color analyst, so I give people their perfect colors and their figure finesse body shape strategy. We establish their style essence, their distinctive style essence, and then we can kind of dial up or dial down from there how much we get involved in shaping looks and building a wardrobe and bringing this look to life that feels fantastic, and where she can rock up to photo shoots and media and presentations, etc., feeling amazing. Or we can also do a coaching package, and that is where if people want to understand these aspects for themselves and be able to then take that away for life and use it perpetually from then on, then we do more of a coaching style package, where my focus is more on equipping and skilling her, giving her the tools and the key ideas, and then kind of testing and learning and having a collaborative journey from that point so that she feels confident in her own skills. And that's more of the outcome there. And then I have an online program that I'm working on, which is really exciting, that will, over about 10 weeks, take women from that feeling of, I feel like I've got nothing to wear that's really going to show me, or maybe I've got one or two that are old favorite outfits that maybe show me in something like the light I want to be seen in, to then instead feeling, just powerful and amazing and gorgeous from the boardroom to brunch. So, in 10 weeks, which is a pretty short space of time, we get her to the point where she feels like that. So that's exciting. That's coming soon.
That's so good. I'm so excited about that. And I'll be putting all the links to your website and to the quiz in the show notes as well. So super easy for everyone to find you.
Thank you. Thanks, Tracy.
Thanks, Nina. It's been an absolute treat talking with you. Really appreciate your time on Project Joyful.
So brilliant to be here, and thanks for the work you're doing on the podcast. It's amazing.